All right, let's break down the overhead squat today. This is an awesome movement, but we're going to require a lot of shoulder, hip, and ankle mobility, as well as thoracic mobility in our back. It's a full body workout. I'm stabilizing a weight overhead while bracing my core and going into a squat. It requires a lot of coordination, but this is a movement I want you all to have confidence as you slowly master. The overhead squat is meant to be done in the snatch grip, but if you're like me and your shoulders are a little more mobile, you can bring your hands in a little more narrow on this movement. Start wider and then gradually go narrow. As your hands come more narrow, you're able to stack that weight over your back more, but as my hands are wider, it's more stacked through my arms and my elbows. It's just going to feel a little heavier in that wide position, so if you're lucky enough to work on that shoulder mobility and able to bring in your arms, I would definitely check out that position. Now, when we do the overhead squat, we need to make sure that we're not tipping forward. So you will see that my arms slightly go back, okay, behind me in order to keep the bar over my heels. That's the trick here. The bar must stay over my heels. So even as my chest leans forward, I have to squeeze my shoulder blades together to pull those arms back behind my head. In this overhead position with the overhead squat, my armpit should be facing forward and my shoulders should be shrugged up at all times. That's on the way down and the way up. Don't forget about the way up with the movement. Let me show you a few reps. I also can go a little more narrow because I have that shoulder mobility. All right, how are we going to get that bar over our head? You could do a power snatch up into position, or you can get that bar on your back by coming from a rack, especially if it's in a strength portion. If the overhead squat is in a Metcon, or at the end of your workout, it's usually supposed to be taken from the floor. And for that, you would want to either clean and jerk the bar onto your back, or snatch the bar into the air. But if it's in a strength portion during your workout, you can take it from the rack. I should tell you where to take it from. So, if I've got the bar on my back, I'm going to go out to my wider grip. Chest is upright, and I'm going to press that bar over my head. I can either do a push press, a push jerk, or a split jerk. Let me demonstrate all of them. Note how during all of these movements, my torso stays upright, and I'm pressing my elbows forward to get some good leverage to keep that bar going up straight. Once I have the bar overhead, I'm going to turn my armpits forward, shrug those shoulders up, hips go back, knees go out, hip crease below the top of my knees. If we can't go low in the squat yet, that's perfectly fine. Grab a box or a chair, and I want you to tap your butt to that object when you go down. Slowly over time, we'll lower the height of the object. If you only have a dumbbell, this requires a lot of stability across the core. I can get that dumbbell up however I want, keeping it up straight. So I need to have mobility to get in this position before I would even attempt the overhead squat. Feet nice and wide in my squat stance. I like to keep my other arm out for balance. Hips go back, hip crease below the top of my knees, and stand up. If this was a strength portion with an overhead squat, I would complete all reps or the complex on one side with my dumbbell before I would do all the reps on the other side. This is the same for a Metcon with an overhead squat. So if I had 10 overhead squats in a workout or in a Metcon, I would complete all 10 reps on one side with my dumbbell and then all 10 on the other side. Again, use a box with the dumbbell if you need to sit your butt back to if the target's too much. If being overhead hurts your shoulder, I want you to scale the overhead squat to just this front rack position, and we're still working on an upward support right here. Or You can easily take a broomstick and work on the balance of holding a broomstick overhead with both arms. Work on the balance of my arms over my head instead of using a barbell. Reach out with any questions, guys. Have fun today.